Hey, what's up again, guys? After watching Ryan Beard's video, on Destiny, before that, I noticed he made a video on Arya, and I said in one of my last videos that the Arya video is one of my most viewed videos that I did, and there's even a cameo I made in a viral video that happened not too long ago, like 2 years ago at this point. So I want to cover it. Before I do that though, I got recommended this video to me by the Humanist Report. It's about the whole Ethan Klein Hasan beef, and I know I said I wasn't going to cover that much of it anymore, but this kind of caught my eye because I used to watch the Humanist Report, not for a whole lot, not for like a long time. I watched them for like a couple months, like a year or two ago. Hold on. I didn't really like I like him. I cycle through YouTubers, so there was really no reason like I stopped watching him. I just kind of got lost in other people I was watching, so I didn't really make time for him. But sounds like he's against Ethan in the Hasan beef. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. I'm just gonna watch a couple minutes of this, and then we'll see his take, and then we'll jump back to Ryan Beard.
There's something kind of scary brewing in America. Communism.
You heard that right. The scary thing that's brewing right now in America is communism, not fascism.
Okay. It probably would have been better if Ethan didn't include that, but he's bro. Ethan knows like Trump is the bigger threat right now, but he's been so attacked by Hasan's community and like the tanky sphere, like of course he sees that as a threat because it's coming after him. So
Even though the fascists are in full control of our government and they're crippling institutions and dismantling the administrative state as we speak, the real threat is actually communism. Yeah, makes sense. Now, in case you don't know who that is, it's comedian Ethan Klein of the H3 podcast. And even though he tried to say that in a funny way, I promise you, he wasn't trying to do satire. It's what he unironically believes. Now, I don't know.
Yeah, because he's being attacked by fucking tankies right now, bro.
I don't know how familiar my audience is with Ethan Klein and the H3 podcast, but if you aren't familiar with him, I know that you've at least probably seen this incredible moment that he helped to facilitate.
Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. I had no idea this was going to happen.
Oh no, Sam Cedar.
And now it's all come full circle because Ethan Klein is now the one who refuses to talk to Sam Cedar, much like Jen Yuger of TYT, who's also currently crashing out like Ethan Klein.
Actually, I really don't know why Ethan is avoiding Sam, if that's the case. There might be a reason. I'd have to look into it, but yeah.
And as Jimmy Dore slid further to the right a couple of years ago, he too refused to debate Sam Cedar. So it feels like Sam Cedar has become the de facto final boss of grifters and crash outs because
how is Ethan a grifter? What do you mean?
they know that he would easily expose their bullshit, hence why they avoid him like the fucking plague. But an existential fear of Sam Cedar is not the only thing that Ethan Klein and Jen Yuger, as well as Anna Kasparian, have in common. They've all been cheered on recently by the far right for punching left. Ethan's been applauded by the likes of Tim Pool and Keemstar and Ian Miles Chong.
Yeah, but Ethan still hates these guys, as far as I'm aware. Like, what?
All for his smear campaign against his former co-host Hasan Piker. Now, on the subject of
bro, he did it to himself. What?
similarities between the H3 and TYT crash outs, we also saw how the far right showered Anna Kasparian with
I'm guessing the Humanist Report is very anti-Israel. Which, if that's the case, that makes sense why he's going this route of attacking Ethan. It's just, come on, man.
compliments for her birthing person tweet. Ethan Klein also hates Hasan. Anna Kasparian, she hates him too. Cenk doesn't, so he gets a little bit of a pass there because that's his nephew. Both TYT and H3 are fueled by personal petty grievances and hurt feelings. Ethan and
What are you? Bro, okay. When it comes to politics, yes, disagreements happen. I said it before, you can be friends with someone who doesn't have the same politics as you. That's all well and good. When you're a political advocate or like a political commentator, it's a different set of standards. It's because you're actively activating for. You're actively like promoting your political worldview, and you're trying to build like a political project. For Ethan, it was more. It wasn't really like that. Hasan, he's like I said. So Hasan's the propagandist. He wants the fall of the U.S. essentially. He wants the fall of the U.S. like empire. While Ethan, he just wants to attack right-wing figures and make fun of them, which that's fun and all, but that's not inherently like a political project. So when Ethan realized the extent of Hasan's radicalness, he was like, "Whoa! Like this is too much for me. Like I'm a capitalist. I'm not like I'm not a communist. It's I don't know if the Humanist Report's a communist. It could also be that Hasan's just such a big figure in the left that people feel the need to suck up to him, which is unfortunate because he's a shitty guy, but that's the case. I just want to say too, historically, people on the same side have fucking fought. Like William Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass, they were on the same side in like I want to say 1830s, 1840s, and then towards the end of the 1840s, towards the end of like middle of the 1840s-ish, Frederick did his own thing. He broke away, started his own newspaper, and him and Garrison were fucking coming for each other's throats. They hated each other for a certain point. I think they didn't reconcile, but they maybe kind of made up towards the end of their lives. I'd have to look into it again. But dude, it's a human thing. People forget the human angle when it comes to like politics. I hate this.
But ironically, Ethan Klein is able to see what's happening at TYT, but he doesn't have the self-awareness to see that he's had a similar trajectory for the same reasons.
Speaking of
How? What?
which, have you noticed the co-host from the Young Turks, Anna, what's her last name, has gone like full Trump? And Cenk too. They've both gone like pro-Trump. It's so crazy. Check it out. It's fucking weird.
They have?
Yeah.
Now, to clarify, Ethan hasn't gone full MAGA, although he has...
Okay, at least we acknowledge that.
But Ethan Klein is incapable of seeing that minor disagreements with the left and an inability to accept good faith criticism is ultimately what broke Cenk and Anna's brains, and it's the exact same thing that broke his brain too.
No, it's not. It's the thing that broke his relationship with Hasan. All he wants is Hasan to acknowledge what he's saying, like his critiques of him. But Hasan's not doing that. Instead, he's like avoiding it, calling him a fucking 50-year-old man, and just avoiding any point he has to say it. Where's his critique of Hasan, bro?
But even though Cenk and Anna might bitch and moan about criticism that they get from the left, they have never gone so far as to call for leftists to be deplatformed because of their disagreements.
What's it called? I don't have much love for Cenk and Anna right now. I didn't really watch TYT growing up. I watched a little bit of it, but was never a big fan. That being said, well, I can't speak for Anna because I haven't really paid attention to her much. Cenk's more sucking up to mega people it's been really pathetic. Like, come on, dude. Like the whole Charlie Kirk appearance he made, that shit was so bad. Like, come on, dude. Have some self-respect.
And that right there is where Ethan Klein stands out as the biggest piece of shit in this situation.
How?
Because he's launched an all-out campaign to deplatform Hasan Piker. We're not just talking about him.
I'm not saying I want Hasan deplatformed, but if he got banned for a little bit, I would not really care too much, honestly. I think he deserves it. Bro, he brought on a Houthi, and then fucking proceeded to glaze him for an hour, and then when people called him out on it, he plays victim. Like, it's so stupid.
Disagreeing with Hasan Piker and criticizing Hasan Piker, he is trying to destroy Hasan Piker, his former friend and co-host. But I want to back up a little bit and give you some additional context, so that way we're all on the same page, because again, I'm not sure.
I might just have to watch this whole thing.
He started to also conflate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. He later spent an entire episode shitting on Hasan Piker, and during that episode, his Lebanese staffers had family in Lebanon that had to evacuate because they were being bombed by Israel. He centered his feelings during that entire episode, didn't even let them share their experience.
I think there could be critique on the way you could critique Ethan when it comes to like AB and their treatment of that. I don't really watch enough H3 to know all that. When it comes to conflating anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, bro, like can you blame him? Like, the left's reaction to October 7th was fucking insane. And the people attacking him, and he's not even bringing up like the arguments they had, like when that time he started crying on stream with Hasan. Like, it's just so come on.
That's insane to me. He later claimed recently, actually, that Joe Biden was actually good when it comes to Israel-Palestine, even though he armed and funded them at every step of the way. His wife, Ela Klein, called Yoav Gallant a really good guy, even though he is the war criminal who called Palestinians human animals while announcing that he was going to be cutting off food and electricity to all of them, not just Hamas. And over time, these things that he kept...
I'd have to let you know that I think he just said he was a good guy, like in the like the only good guy in the cabinet, which I know Gallant's pretty extreme. Could be wrong on that though.
saying started to add up, and the left-wing audience that he cultivated began to grow tired of this bullshit commentary that they've been hearing. And little by little, as he lost viewers and subscribers every single week, he began to grow more angry with Hasan because seemingly he felt like Hasan turned his audience against him.
That's not even the case. He just what, bro?
Which isn't true at all. He has a left-leaning audience that just agreed more with Hasan, full stop. And I don't think I'm making unreasonable assumptions here, because Ethan has been pretty upfront about the fact that his anger towards Hasan stemmed from him having hurt feelings. And I say that because he included this clip in his content, Nuke of Hasan, from a conversation that they both had just before he ended the Leftovers podcast.
Do you care that your chat is calling me racist? Do you make any attempt to modify?
I have not looked at my chat.
Moderate that
I
at
have
all?
not looked at my chat at all, but you
I
have
just
to
opened it, but don't you have moderators? Do you care at all about what your audience?
Bro, the chat was going insane during this.
32,000 people in here right now.
I'm just trying to tell you guys how it feels.
To be clear, Hasan...
Also, bro, like I said it before, but Hasan can moderate his chat. They can ban people like critiquing him, and he knows it. He looks at his chat all the time. He knows what's happening in his chat. So him saying like, oh, I can't control my chat, like, what do you mean? Like, there's only so much you could do. Like, bro, shut up.
Was banning people who were being purposefully antagonistic towards Ethan out of respect for him and their friendship. I know because I was there. I saw Hasan on stream ban chatters who came in talking shit about Ethan Klein. He tried to get his own chat to see it from Ethan Klein's perspective.
Maybe later, but not in that clip that we were watching, because obviously he wasn't, because Ethan was he started crying after that, dude.
As a dual citizen of the US and Israel. But that wasn't enough for Ethan Klein. And ever since that moment, his hatred towards Hasan has grown and festered. You know, for months he's been stewing, and it's reached the point where Ethan Klein is not only comparing Hasan to literal neo-Nazis like Nick Fuentes, but he's also accusing him of being a terrorist sympathizer. And worse, he's trying to get Twitch to ban Hasan.
He is. He said he has no problem with the fucking Hezbollah.
And he used this content, Nuke, to encourage his viewers to call for an advertiser boycott of Twitch if they don't actually ban Hasan.
I made this video for two reasons. First, to stop Hasan infiltrating mainstream media. Hasan has been welcomed by many mainstream outlets. They view him as a friendly social democrat, as someone who's just trying to spread progressive politics online to an important demographic. But we know that's not true. He is not their friend or their ally. If you ever see Hasan rubbing shoulders with anyone from mainstream media, let them know politely, with all the civility in the world, what kind of person he is when he thinks mainstream media isn't watching. Help them understand that his name should be associated with people like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones, other fringe, radical, political commentators.
If I'm being honest, yeah, he's the left Alex Jones. I said it in that one video, he's a communist, bro. Like, I'm not just saying that to like label him or like because I hate communists. That's what he is. He actively wants to follow the US. He's against anything positive the US does. He's against that. Anything negative that the US does, obviously he's against that, but like he just wants to follow the US, bro. What do you want me to say?
Number 2, Twitch.
Like he has to moderate himself in his when he's live, but he has extreme views, bro. Like
Must be held accountable.
Yeah. Now, first of all, he is grossly mischaracterizing the racial tier list that he referenced there, and he got all of those small creators banned for a month.
How? How is he grossly? How, bro?
Because of his outrage over that. But now he's trying to cause adpocalypse on Twitch to kill everybody's
He's not gonna explain how it's grossly. Okay.
channels, so that way they'll all be mad at Hasan. So that way other creators will try to sacrifice Hasan to the gods of the advertisers in order to spare them. Now, conspicuously enough, Ethan Klein doesn't have the same energy for the right-wing streamers who push red pill manosphere bullshit to young men, or for the fascists who are spreading genocidal hate speech towards trans people and immigrants, and also Palestinians. He's targeting Hasan simply because his fucking feelings are...
I mean, he has a point there, but they're kind of like bottom of the barrel ads with those people, like Ben Shapiro and Tim Pool, but I don't know.
are hurt. That is what this is about. Meanwhile, as he's coping and seething, Hasan is having the time of his life. Hasan was in Japan feeding capybaras in a French maid outfit while Ethan Klein's content Nuke dropped. And you could tell that Hasan is not bothered by Ethan's bullshit because he knows that he's...
Obviously he was, bro. You didn't see the fucking video that he did, like, after the fact. The one where he has the beanie on.
right. Conversely, Ethan Klein is extremely bothered by Hasan because deep down he knows that he's in the wrong. In times like these, we need people like Hasan more than ever.
Oh my god. No, we don't.
So, you know, when we're trying to fight fascists and you want to take away a prominent anti-fascist voice, Ethan, I take that personally. Right?
Oh my god, bro.
He says that since Hasan is promoting terrorism and that's against Twitch's TOS, well, they have grounds to ban him. Now, he makes this argument by including clips of Hasan broadcasting videos of Houthis dancing, saying that that's terrorist propaganda. He accuses Hasan of not pushing back enough against the Yemeni pirate that he brought on his program. And a lot of these claims that he makes during this process are very poorly sourced. He clearly
What did he literally pulled from the video?
cherry picks headlines while not reading the article, and he makes a lot of rookie mistakes during this video essay. Not to mention, a lot of the clips that he used of Hasan were very clearly misrepresented or taken out of context
Like what?
completely, but he sourced these from Destiny's community, specifically
Oh my god.
their subreddit, I'm assuming.
I'm sure there's been like some like crossover between like some people on Destiny's, like maybe some Destiny orbiters like helped Ethan in a way, but he's come out against Destiny. He doesn't like Destiny. Like they're not conspiring to make this together. Like, oh my god. He probably drew a lot from Destiny because fucking Destiny hates Hasan, and like he actually criticizes Hasan fairly. Like, yeah, he hates him, but he makes accurate points about like what Hasan's doing wrong and what he's saying that's wrong.
The crux of his argument here falls apart when you understand the double standard and sheer hypocrisy of what Ethan Klein is saying. So while he accuses Hasan of being a terrorist sympathizer, he doesn't hold streamers who literally make pro-IDF content to that same standard, even though they explicitly whitewash and justify IDF terrorism. Nor does he accuse those types of people, Lonerbox, Destiny, Brianna Wu.
Loner? How is Loner? Because they're not like full-on pro-Palestine? Like what?
Of promoting terrorism. And he doesn't say that they should be banned. He just says this about Hasan. Right? Now, he certainly doesn't hold his own wife to that same standard. She was a member of the IDF, which is a terrorist organization, to be clear.
What? Dude, oh my god. It's a mandatory service thing. And like, she's not like an ideological like Zionist, for sure. Not that I'm aware of. What?
Now, he also defends Ela by saying that Israel had mandatory military service, so she had no choice but to serve in the IDF, which is fair. But he never responds to the fact that she willingly shared the fact that she had a boring desk job with the IDF, but chose a different position within the military because she thought that it was too boring.
No, I think the story went that she just went with them for a ride-along for one day.
And on that same podcast, she talked about how she went on a raid to a terrorist city. Ramallah, specifically, is what she was referring to. And more recently, his wife, Ela, called the Israeli defense minister, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity, a really good guy. Now, listen, I don't expect him to call his wife a fucking terrorist, obviously, but I do expect him to have a little bit of fucking self-awareness and maybe not lob that term around so casually if that's his
Wait, we're gonna watch that clip because I'm pretty sure it was like, oh, I just was bored one day and I just went on a raid with him. And honest, bro, no one fucking called that out for years. That clip's been around forever.
And your whole family served in the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did
Like,
how was your
okay,
experience in the military?
This clip's been around for like 5 years. I feel like Hila was actually part of some highly trained Israeli special forces, and she has over 100 confirmed kills. But for Ethan's safety, she's keeping it all secret. You might read that now and think like they're critiquing that, but that was a joke. People thought it was funny. And that was a comment from 7 years ago. I even liked it. It's on another one. I feel like Hila could kill a man with a shiv and never mention it because it doesn't seem relevant to any conversation. Like, people were joking like Hila's like a secret badass. Now like people are like commenting how like she's a genocide supporter. But
it was okay. I don't know the terms in English from the army.
Right.
It's
He was
hard
an
to translate. So I was in Dukhifat, which is like a brigade,
Mhm.
I guess, that's in charge of the area of Ramallah.
Mhm.
I liked a lot more.
Mhm.
You just, because if you're doing something that it felt like I wasn't doing,
Different post.
yeah.
Different location.
So, and it was something like you can apply for it, and it's a form that you fill out, and then they're gonna give you some help with like their hotel or a room,
Okay.
things like that. But it was all on the computer. It just felt like some computer thing.
Right. Okay. So secretary.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it was super boring, and I really hated it because it was just like I had to take a bus super early, go there, spend the whole day, go back home. I hated it, so I tried to change my role, and it was something like you can apply for it, and it's a form that you fill out, and then
okay, so I was wrong. She did actually change her role. But let's see.
they're gonna give you something else, completely random. You have
Different
no
position.
idea.
Different post.
Yeah.
Different location.
So I decided to do that, and if I don't like the second one, then I'll just find a way to get out of the army.
It was that bad.
Yeah, I just didn't. I hated everything about it. Didn't want to do it.
She was just, bro. It sounds like she was like a low-level bureaucrat. Like,
You just, because if you're doing something that it felt like I wasn't doing anything, I was just wasting my life.
Yeah.
It could get really frustrating. I don't know.
Right.
And you got to do it for 2 years.
Right.
So I filled out that form and I tried it, and then I somehow ended up in a better place that I liked a lot more.
Mhm.
Before it was a daily thing where you go back home every day, and the new one was in a way that was a base that was far from my house. So you go there for the whole week, and then you come back for the weekend.
So you preferred that? Were you gone for a whole week?
I did.
Interesting. Why?
It was kind of like just more of an adventure, more of a different experience that I preferred than to just go to a boring job, sit on the computer, and go back home at the end of every day. I don't know.
Were you doing secretary work there?
So yeah, I was the secretary of the head of the. There's like I don't know the terms in English from the army.
Right.
It's
He was
hard
an
to translate. So I was in Dukhifat, which is like a brigade,
Mhm.
I guess, that's in charge of the area of Ramallah,
Mhm.
and that brigade has like a main officer.
Mhm.
So I was his secretary.
Okay, so you were right below the big.
okay, to be fair, she could be lying about this. I don't know. But going off her story, she was a low-level bureaucrat, basically making schedules or whatever it was, and then they transferred her to a different base, and she was a secretary for a brigade officer or some shit like that. She wasn't like on a fucking Israeli death squad. Like, she wasn't special forces.
Cool.
So it was nice. It was
That comes-
interesting. It was more demanding in a way, but also kind of more rewarding because you're put in this weird situation where you're like you're away from your house. You have this new group of people that you have to get along with, and it's hard to explain, but for some reason it was more interesting. I enjoyed it more.
You told me once you went on like a mission with them to like a terrorist city.
Yeah.
That was kind of a crazy story.
Yeah, my officers and like the soldiers in that brigade, they would go every night on a raid
Right.
in Ramallah to arrest terrorists, and so I always saw them preparing for it and leaving, and then I would stay in the base. So one time I wanted to go with them just to experience it.
Why you just were all of a sudden had an urge to go with them?
I just wanted to see what it's like.
Right.
I wanted to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, she just went on a raid. It's basically a ride along. Oh my god.
wife's history.
Yeah, I guess I'm not getting the Ryan beard today. And it's okay.
And on that note, YouTuber Bad Empanada did a thorough breakdown about this, and he explained how by Ethan's own standards, Ela Klein is more of a terrorist.
I'm sorry, Panda Empanada is a fucking nut job.
He said that he hoped the NRA convention, when it was happening, I think it was 2023 or so, got shot up. He said that if there's another Holocaust, he hopes that Ben Shapiro is gassed first or last. And he admits that he says offensive things himself in the content Nuke, to his credit, but he implies that Hasan's edgy comments are just too beyond the pale, whereas his aren't.
No, he said, I'm not judging Hasan for his comments. It wasn't until he, his audience started to turn on him for his takes, like, for not being, like, extreme like they were, like, not being full-on communists.
I don't hate the idea of like people who can be successful. I think it's good that people can achieve success in the term monetary success. I mean, that's what that means, right? I do. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Because I see so many people in the chat saying, no,
I don't know what y'all are tripping about. Like, what the fuck do you
what is the idea
like,
that
you
people
guys, like,
are looking for?
You guys are all like radical communists. There's that many radical communists. Suck it, chat. You're watching a capitalist pig. Deal with it.
Now, he has cultivated more of a left-wing audience due to his proximity with Hasan and also because he kind of made a pivot after making pretty reactionary videos. But there were also...
Were his videos all that react? I don't remember. He was never all that political. He just, like, made videos on, like, stupid people. Like, what? Oh, my God. The whole grooming comment, though, I'm pretty sure that he meant that as like a joke. Even still, I think Ethan saw Hasan. He thought, he was starting to make fun of people on the right, and then he saw Hasan was doing that, and he was also like someone on the left. He probably didn't know, like, he probably knew he was like kind of a socialist, but he didn't realize to what extent he was. He just saw someone on the left dunking on people on the right, and that was popping off at the time. So,
a lot of people in his audience that have always been left-wing, people like myself, who remember the cringeworthy episodes where he debated with his producers, Dan and Ian, about whether or not billionaires should exist. That was insufferable to me, and I'm glad that he moved away from that and became more progressive with time. I mean, his audience was not happy back then, if you go back and watch those episodes, and they especially aren't happy now that he's running interference for rich people. So, of course, they're going to respond to you by criticizing you, especially, again, after you moved away from that trajectory that you were on towards the end of the SJW era back in, like, 2016, 2017,
I think the billionaire debate was like within the last 2 years, though. Like, it wasn't that far off.
he was platforming racists like John Tron and hucksters like Jordan Peterson twice, for that matter. So to see you move in this better direction where you...
He's the John people are like rewriting his history. Like, he was like somewhat anti-SJW, but he was never like Steven Crowder level. He was never like right-wing chud level. Like, what are you guys talking about?
It is adorable that he credits himself for Hasan's popularity. That right there is
Wait, what?
That was my fear anyway. Regardless of his true beliefs, that broke my trust in him, and I pretty much ended the show immediately. And I felt guilty for my participation in mainstreaming Hasan.
it is adorable.
He kind of did though, bro. Like, Hasan was already like, white hot in terms of his growth, because they didn't start Leftovers until like 2021, like after Frenemies ended. Say what you will about H3, he was still like a big figure in the YouTube community. He normalized Hasan essentially. Like I said, Hasan was already popping off, but Ethan saw an opportunity. He's like, hey, this guy's kind of cool. He's a left figure. I'm starting to make a leftward pivot myself. I'm starting to cover politics more. I'm gonna work with this guy. I'm gonna collab with him. I'm gonna start my own show with him, and we're just gonna grow. Like, take over this space, and like that did kind of normalize it, because people, I'm pretty sure reputable people take note of Ethan. Like, Philip DeFranco started covering Hasan more because of Ethan, probably. So like, and Philip DeFranco doesn't really critique Hasan. He'll like cover like stories about him, but he won't like give his opinion on it, which is very frustrating. But
That he credits himself for Hasan's popularity. That right there is peak delusion. But as you saw, it always comes back to Ethan's feelings. First of all, propaganda is
because this is what it's about, bro. Like, he legit, he was his friend. All he wanted was like a sliver of empathy from him, and Hasan didn't show it. And instead, he doubled down, said pretty much "fuck Israel." If you're not with me, you're against me. And Ethan just wanted like, hey, like I'm with you right here. I just can't go all the way with it. And they turned against him.
A value neutral term. It doesn't necessitate lying. He made that up.
He basically, he doesn't want the fall of Israel. That's a bit too extreme for him. And because of that, his Hasan's audience and even a bit of his audience turned on him. That's what it boils down to, end of the day.
Second of all leftists have expressed anger with liberals for many reasons. Liberals have done the same. But liberals in particular, like Ethan Klein, they agitate leftists by choosing to focus their ire on the left as opposed to the fascists who seized power in this country. And he's not the only person who does this, to be fair. It happens all the time, which is why the left does get frustrated with liberals. For example, Olivia Juliana, a pro-Democrat influencer, chose to bash Chappell Roan for calling for healthcare for musicians.
Chappelle Roan calls for labels to give new artists a livable wage and healthcare during the Grammys. I told myself if I won the Grammy, I'd do it. Oh, cool.
At the Grammys, while implying that she didn't support Kamala Harris, who had a plan to expand access to healthcare, except she's lying. She did vote for Kamala Harris, she just didn't want to publicly endorse her because of her complicity with genocide. Moreover, liberals on Twitter spent Trump's first week in office bashing my leftist mafia co-host, Ariana Jasmine, for saying that she wouldn't vote for Joe Biden because as a Muslim woman, she couldn't overlook the genocide that he was complicit with. Never mind the fact that...
And like, part of me gets that, dude. Like, I get, if you're Muslim or if you're Arab and you really care about Gaza and you saw everything that Biden was doing and that turned you off from voting for him, I can't say I don't blame you for it. I am sympathetic to wanting to punish the Democrats for allowing Gaza to be as bad as it is. That being said, because we didn't, because the left decided to stick it to Kamala and not vote for her, we essentially shot ourselves in the foot and allowed Trump to come back. So also too, there's more to it. Like, Biden probably shouldn't have ran for the second time. Democrats probably shouldn't have ran Biden at all back in 2020. Like, there's so many like woulda, shoulda, coulda, but end of the day, we're on one timeline here. There's only, as far as we know, one destiny / like path / like timeline that we're on. This is fate. We can't avoid it. We have Trump now, so now we got to deal with that. It's just how it goes.
In the end, she did vote for Kamala Harris for purposes of harm reduction and showed up to the DNC convention to pressure them to platform a Palestinian speaker. She put in the work and she was still raked over the coals for not sufficiently swearing fealty to the Democratic Party. So there's been this long-standing animosity between leftists and liberals because we are forced to share a party with people that have completely different worldviews than we have. Liberals are capitalists. Leftists are anti-capitalist. Liberals like the Democratic Party. Leftists do not like the Democratic Party, although some of us align with Democrats to stop fascists, right? And we're critical of the Democratic Party because we want them to do better and beat fascists, which irritates liberals. But Ethan Klein feels like Hasan downplayed his actual beliefs to radicalize Ethan's audience and ultimately turn them against him. But Hasan has literally never hid his views, ever. He has a bust of Lenin behind him. And I hate to break it to Ethan, but as leftists, we know Americans might be turned off by socialism.
I think, just thinking about it, Israel really wasn't like a story within the past 5 years, except for in 2021, like during May, during that short war that they had. But that was before they even, Ethan and Hasan even started collabing. Also, too, I think, you could say that Israel was kind of in the wrong for that, because they just started. If I remember correctly, there was like a protest at Al-Aqsa, and then Israel started clamping down on that protest, and they started pretty much attacking them in Al-Aqsa. And then, yeah, Hamas shot the first rockets, but for the most, from what I remember of that whole event that happened, a lot of people were like, that was the first like time that people started coming out against Israel, and then they settled that real quick, and then Israel really wasn't like a huge story unless you were following it. The whole dissolution of the government with Benjamin Netanyahu, the protests that happened over the past couple years, or like that happened in 2023, and then over the judicial system or something like that, and then Netanyahu coming back. If you weren't like following politics, you really didn't care about that, or you didn't like know about that. It wasn't until the Hamas-Israel war that Israel came back in like a huge way, but because it was such a visceral event, and this topic is so polarizing for everyone, it just it broke people, dude. Like it's hard to explain, right? Like this event was so like visceral and gross, and like people took it and like ran with it to fit their own political agendas. It's just gross. Okay, I think we're done with this. He came out against I don't know what Ethan specifically had to say about Destiny and Nick Fuentes, but he doesn't like Destiny. He came out against him with the whole sex scandal thing. I think that's about it. I'll cover the Ryan Beard video next time. I know. I was watching a bit of Ethan's stream that he did yesterday and the other day. D. Hasan Piker. It sounds like he's not going to talk to him. I haven't finished this live yet, but it sounds like he's not going to talk to him. So I think I don't want to say the story's done, because they're obviously going to go back and forth for a while. But I think for right now, officially, I'm probably going to not cover this story that much. I'll probably look into it more. Bro, but I don't really want to be a Hasan watcher. Like, he pisses me off. I'll keep an eye on this story. If anything else interesting happens, I will cover it, but I want to move on to other things. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching.